this podcast.
Now Napoleon's in there.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. Torture talk.
Torture talk, man.
You know what it is.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. This how we gonna do this. Hood recovery, right?
Hood recovery.
All right, man. So, got a lot to say to you.
What's going on? I knew you was gonna start your shit. Let's go.
What you mean?
No, go ahead.
What you mean? How you been, man?
Everything's good. You know what I mean? It's your boy Milton Slug Nooch. Everybody know. You know what I'm saying? Got my peoples here with me, Lydia.
Hello.
You know what I'm saying? I kind of wanted to do a podcast, talking about, something that we wanted to come up with. You know what I mean? Basically, I had the idea from the situations I've been in. I wanted to talk about it, shed some light on some things that I went through and stuff like that, and more or less it's I wanted to talk. Oh yeah, definitely want to move that.
It's her face is right.
Hood recovery, and we got the bottle of the empty bottle of Bacardi.
No, it was covering her face.
All right, so basically, I wanted to talk about more or less, people in our urban, communities, not having a major platform to talk about addictions.
Yeah.
Not just addictions, but certain traumas, certain things that we go through as a black community, as the hood, or whatever. You don't have to necessarily be black, minority, or whatever to be considered hood. These urban communities. So we wanted to shed some light on some things, the good side, the bad sides, and just have a platform for us. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of the times we don't have a voice for us. You know what I mean? In these situations, man, it's like a lot of stigmas going on when it comes to recovery. It's a lot of things of that nature. So we just wanted to shed some light on some things, man. And I think having a podcast, having that type of platform would be a good way to talk about these things freely. So that's what we wanted to come up with. You know what I mean? And
So we're gonna definitely dig into that. So let me ask you, what do you think that this? How do you think that they handling this way of going about people needing recovery nowadays? Do you think it's doing more help or more harm? Do you think that the states we live in now, not the state as in states of, but I'm saying state of mind that we living in, do you think that their way of helping people is actually helping people or actually harming people by helping people in certain cases?
I think the idea is there for the most part, but I think that a lot of things that are in place don't have everything about the people that's going through it in mind. What I mean by that is, like, you have the NAs of the world, the AAs of the world. You have all these things, but in all actuality, like, the black community or the hood communities, we don't really relate to a lot of that. Like, you come to an NA meeting and they talking about all the steps and step work, and you just go in there like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? And most of the time, it's brought on because it's through probation or whatever the case may be. So now you gotta be forced to go to these things, which it shouldn't be a force. You know what I mean? Recovery shouldn't be a forced thing. It should be something that you want to go through. It's a personal thing.
You think that these programs don't really help the inner city communities because their way about going about, because as far as like 12 steps and the AA program and all those programs, I understand that they have a universal way of going about it. Everybody is individually different. Exactly. But I guess my question to you is, if this has worked for multiple people going forward, wouldn't it be in people's best interest to try it instead of saying, you know what, it doesn't work for me out the gate? because they don't understand it?
I mean, I think like as far as NAs and all these places and all these things like that, I think that they have worked for thousands of people, and it's a great thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you gotta understand that everybody's not looked the same. Like when you come into NAAA, it's this, oh, we got hugs and you know, we got, oh, you gotta have a sponsor, the person to talk to, and this and that and this and that. But if I'm like a black, it's been plenty of times I've been to meetings and I'm the only black person there. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like I already feel weird, like, cause I'm like the only. I feel like an outcast. Now you telling me I gotta tell my most vulnerable thing to a person I kind of don't even know or not even relate to.
Well,
so now you putting me into. Now, not to say every meeting's like that, because there's a lot of meetings in this city that are mainly black or people like that.
Well, I kind of want to say what you just said. I want to say something about what you said, because I think that's very important. I think a lot of people don't understand that they look at that as a different society. So they don't look at it as just you're black and it's white and this person's black. And I understand where you're coming from. I'm actually on your side on that point. But I'm saying AA meetings, NA meetings, they look at that y'all are recovering addiction or addicted, or you know what I'm saying? They don't look at in a certain sense of color, because we all know that drugs or whatever, alcoholism, don't have a color to it. Everybody's affected by it. So I think that, but I understand what you mean by that, because if you come into a room, of course you're going to feel uncomfortable with it's a room full of white people and you the only black person there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't understand. Maybe, like, I know people who actually went to AA meetings because they wanted to cop a lesser charge because they didn't want to go to jail or whatever, and
Stuff
they just
like
said that they were on drugs. You know what I'm saying? And they really never used drugs. That happened to people I know.
Oh, that's a fact. People
So,
definitely trying to finagle the system.
Yeah.
I mean,
so I
that's
guess
regular.
the point I'm making is that that does happen, but I think that they shoot them some bail. I think that they look at it like, well, there's no color here because we all affected by these different substances. You know what I'm saying?
But you know, that's cool to think like that, and a lot of people do. But the reality of the matter is that it is a thing where a lot of when you say recovery, or you say I'm an addict or whatever, the whiter community or whatever, I don't want to be like that plain, but I'm
gotta be.
You know what I mean?
Right?
I can't really say it any other way. Like the white community look at that differently.
Yeah.
They give it more empathy towards certain things than the, you know what I'm saying? That's the stigma of a black person or a person minority saying that they're an addict and this and that. Like the whole your community looking at it like you an addict, like what? You're a fiend or whatever. Like it's a total different dynamic. You know what I'm saying? So it's not looked upon the same. So you even got those things in your head when you're trying to go to these places. You know what I'm saying?
You know why that is, though?
Hold on. Go ahead. Say something.
No, I was just going to say that, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. That I think that within the Caucasian community, it's more acceptable for them to go to therapy, for them to talk about their issues. They probably already have experienced that. With minorities, it's more like, we don't talk about it. What goes on at home stays at home. You don't talk about it. Exactly. And vulnerability is viewed as a weakness. You know what I mean? A lot of times, especially amongst black men. You know what I mean? So to say like, oh, I'm an addict or I have this problem, or pour your heart out even about your day, you have a hard enough time pouring your heart out about your day to a person you're in a relationship with. Let alone a group of you know, strangers that you don't know. So,
I mean, that's the thing that I was, you know, when I was thinking about putting this podcast together and I just wanted to have a platform where people talking freely about, you know, what we go through. You know what I'm saying? And as far as everything, you know what I mean? It's people see it from, I think, one angle a lot of the times. I think people just see it as, you know, on drugs. Oh, just get off. Yeah. What's your problem? Why y'all can't do this? Or, oh, you're grieving over this. Why you can't get over that? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like so cut and dry where you don't understand, like, people need these type of outlets. They need to hear people that's going through certain things that they may relate to, and say they could get ideas and say, you know what, if Milton or Lydia or whoever, like they got over it, or they going through it, but they living their life and they doing what they got to do, maybe I can do it too. So that's you know, that's the hope that I come through when I put this together. But
I also think that I believe that a lot of people that say that, they have it in their head that, well, you have a lot of options for help. And again, I stand on your side on it because I think a lot of people are just ignorant to the fact that when you are addicted to something, it's like food. Your body feels like it needs it. You know what I mean? You become dependent on these things. And mentally, not physically, sometimes mentally you're dependent on something. Until you break the cycle and you find another outlet, because you still have to find something else that you replace that with. And I think a lot of people don't want to take that into consideration. They just think that, oh, you just get off of whatever you want.
Right.
And it's like, that's stupid. You can't just get off of whatever you want. Right. It's like telling somebody to stop drinking water. It's like, it happens, you know what I'm saying? But I think that they look at it from a lens that there are programs, there are people that help, there's this, there's that. But they don't look at it from the point of view that person, sometimes some people just don't have the willpower to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and then especially when we go ahead. Especially where we come from, as far as like, you know, the inner cities, or even in this area, like we from like Camden area, Camden County area. Like a lot of people don't even know these programs exist. It ain't like people are advertising like, oh, here we go, you got a center for, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? People I told about shout out to Living Proof Recovery Center. Like I've told a lot of people about that. They didn't know. It's not like advertisements and this and that of these places. There's like things that's going on. There's a guy out Camden that goes around and helps people get into. He literally drives his car around talking to people to try to get them in rehabs, bro. Mm-hmm. Like these are the things that we need to shed light on. You know what I'm saying? But if the people in the inner city don't know these things, they looking at it like, oh, I don't have too many options. I could go to a hospital. Even in the hospital, if you don't ask for to talk to a certain person or worker, or there's peer recovery specialists in the hospitals that'll help you get into rehabs and stuff like that. But these things are not like known. So it's like, if you don't know these things, how do you know? It's like they headed over under a rock. It's like you gotta really go out there and dig it up and find it, where it shouldn't even be like that. You know what I'm saying? So
I guess to give you a little pushback on that is, you do have the Gators of the world who don't want recovery. They like the space they're in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now, it doesn't mean that they still doesn't deserve help, because some people just, everybody deserves help. But there are people who literally like to be on drugs. They just like that type of, they like the feeling of it. You know what I'm saying? My biggest problem is, one of my biggest problems with that I always see or come across is, whenever I go to Kensington, it's like a nightmare out there. I've never seen nothing like that in my life with my own two eyes. That's crazy. I kind of got to look at it like, so what do you do in a situation like that? Because obviously there's programs, but in a situation like that, how do you alleviate something like that? How do you get around something like that?
I think for the most part, well, Lee, you got something to say about that?
I mean, that's more your realm of expertise.
Well, I think the responsibility is, a lot of the times, is on, like when we talk about somewhere like Kensington, right? Mm-hmm. We gotta add, you gotta put some kind of responsibility on the city itself. What I mean by that is, they know exactly, and they know for years that this area is like this, right? So it seemed to me, it's like, you ever see The Wire when they put everybody that was doing drugs in the same place, and it was like, oh, they all just keep them there so they don't mess up the rest of the city. That's what it kind of is. You know what I'm saying? Like even when Camden, when they had downtown and the transportation center, like when nothing was there, when nothing like Rutgers and none of them was building up stuff, downtown and the transportation center was wild as hell. Like it was crazy. It's like nobody wanted to do nothing. But now, you know what I'm saying? Now they building up stuff. It's they know we can't have this shit looking like this. People coming off the train and people, you know what I'm saying, doing dope right here and there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We gotta clean this up. Now you see the police for it's like why did they take that for y'all to try to clean it up or try to help people or try to bring certain things out of it, lead it up to all of that? Like it needed, now y'all need to do this because because other people from other towns and other cities are seeing this now.
Well,
like if I guarantee you, if somebody came there and started building and started buying buildings in Kensington and started trying to build it up, the police will be out there more and trying to lead. Look, I seen somebody sleeping in the middle of Kensington and Allegheny on a bed, right on the street. Are you serious, bro? Like, yo, he got real comfortable. Like, ain't no cops coming. That means that they know that, though. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm saying. Like, and this is what they do to the urban community. This is what I want to talk about. Like, and bring shed light to. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things that ain't right that people know that ain't right, but we just
they definitely got a lot. I'm sorry to cut you off. They definitely have a lot more like liquor stores on every other corner in Camden, different things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you wouldn't see in Cherry Hill or wherever.
Facts.
You know, like the way that things are designed. You know what I mean? It's by design for it to be that way because it's beneficial to whoever is designing it.
Why?
Well, here's the thing, right? And this is a fact. It's drugs everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's a design, but and this is gonna sound weird, but the most people that are on drugs are not in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
That's
most
a
of
fact.
the people on the drugs are in the suburbs.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that it's designed though because they do want it to be that way. They want it to be we are on more alcoholism with us. We went through that phase. We went through the crack phase. I think now it's the opioid phase, and it's not really us, and they know that. So they changed it. So now you need help now. Oh, we can fund you. We got you.
Right.
See, before when we was smoking crack in the early '90s and late '80s, they didn't care.
Right.
It wasn't nothing. You just lock you up. Oh, they didn't give you recovery.
And give you mad time.
Nothing. But here's my thing, right? Now that we got to this point in life, you have to make a decision on what are you going to let a small sub genre of people affect a whole community or population. What I say, and I'm not definitely saying that you have to put these people away, but I am saying that you kind of got to do what they're doing in a way, because what else could you do? So you say, okay, let them roam the streets. Now you have them these same addicts who don't want recovery all over the city. They destroying everything. Now, when I mean by destroying, not destroying as in like pretend doing it on purpose.
Right.
I'm saying the value of things are dropping. So in a way, you kind of got to push them to a certain area and try to control that area and then get help in that area. Because if you don't do that, it's going to affect it. Like, you're starting to see it come out here now. I don't know if you noticed this, but you're starting to see it out here now. You're starting to see a lot of people who have the same behaviors of people in Kensington out here. I seen some dude out there right on. I came out my street, going up by what's that? Dollar General. Shot right too by Dollar General, dude. Like 2 of them.
Yeah.
So you're starting to see it out here now. What I'm saying is, it sounds kind of weird, but you kind of gotta push them to a certain area.
This is the thing, right? And you said it earlier about, most of the people that are, on these opioids or whatever are from the suburbs, or you don't want to just say white, but You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
from the suburbs or whatever, right? But see, they know the good shit is in the city. So this is why you see all these white people in Camden, and you know what I mean, you see them on the sets, and you be like, oh, and this is where like, oh, okay, so people selling drugs, like, all right, yeah, they looking for them white cats that's from Merchantville and I mean Cherry Hill, and you know what I'm saying, they looking for them because they like, oh, they gonna spend money, they gonna do this, they gonna do that.
That's
you know
a
what I'm
different.
saying?
That's
So
a different,
this is when the police and all that are now like, hold on, let's get these task force going. Let's get these programs in like drug court, because you know if they get caught, they get caught. We gotta put, you know what I mean. We gotta put these programs in place. Now we throwing them in integrity houses and the programs and all that. And all the programs is getting money off the Medicaid. It's one big money thing.
I will say this about what you just said. So I think that's very important. People gotta understand. There's a such thing as street drugs and pharmaceutical drugs. Now, in the hood, you have a lot of people who take drugs and they cut them and they make drugs. And don't get me wrong, because they don't. A lot of people in the hood don't have access to getting pharmaceutical drugs. It's like, if I'm 25 years old, I'm not gonna go to my doctor and tell him I need Percocets, 4s for my back because my back is killing me, and he has to give me 100 Percocets. A lot of times we don't get approved for stuff like that, so we do come up with different type of ways of different type of drugs that they create, and that's just the hustling mentality. Now the people in the suburbs are different. You got people who sell drugs in the suburbs who got connects with these doctors, and you can't really ask a doctor nothing because the doctor has immunity, so you can't go to the doctor and say, hey, listen, we're gonna charge you, because how can you really charge? This is how I said when you said that it's a money pot. How can you charge a doctor for giving somebody a prescription pills?
Yeah, but this is now we really talking about the bigger issues. A lot of this opioid stuff started from that.
Yeah,
what I mean is that people, you know, there was a big thing about the doctors. This is even one doctor that was on Blackwood Clements Road that was writing scripts for people, and they was just writing scripts for people from, I mean, Xannies, Perks, all that. You know what I'm saying? But once that run out, and people are already hooked to that opioid, they're like, oh shit, so now what I'm gonna do? Like my perk thing, right? They not doing the scripts no more. They done shut that down. What I wanna do? Oh yeah, they got dope in North Camden. That's the same thing. All right, well, and it's cheaper.
Yeah.
So now I'm going down there. Yeah. To get, and now this is where now you in the cities, now the crime. Oh, hold up. Now we gotta stop this.
We can't, and this is why I say to people all the time, you can't blame the doctors. You can't blame the drug.
You kind of can blame the doctors because hold on. I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why though. Go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you exactly why you can't blame doctors.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Because doctors are not the pharmaceutical companies. They do not create nothing. They just they are the ones that just prescribe. That's like me giving you something. If I'm a doctor, right? Now if I'm a criminal doctor, that's something different. But if I'm just a regular doctor and you tell me your back hurt, right, and this pharmaceutical company told me that this Percocet is for the back, and I prescribe it to you, I mean, whether I give you 10 doses or 5 doses, how is that my fault? I didn't create it. Only thing I did was do what a doctor's supposed to do. Now, doctor-patient relationship, you're supposed to be responsible enough to take something, not sell it. That's just the bottom line. But what most people do that are into mischievous things, they take them drugs and they sell them. You know what I mean? Literally your back doesn't hurt. So what Lydia does, I could get $35 per pill and I got 50 pills in here. Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna sell these pills. That's not the doctor's fault. How can that be the doctor's fault?
No,
you know what I'm saying? Now, if you're telling me the doctor's into some criminal stuff,
no, I'm not saying
I could understand that.
So it goes from. Now, I did a lot of research on this shit, so you know what I mean? But I'm going to paraphrase it because I can't go all into it. But from what happened was Big Pharma, pharmaceuticals, whatever, they made these Percocets, the opioids, all these stuff, right? So they didn't really let everybody know that this could have addicting effects. They like kind of left it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So once the doctors and everybody, you know what I'm saying, they knew, everybody was like, all right, you know, the money, the insurance people, they was like, okay, this is good, FDA approved, all right, bang, right? So once the doctors and all them knew, they was writing scripts. A lot of the doctors was like, oh, all right, I'm gonna, because they was getting money off that. You know what I'm saying? Anytime they write out scripts, they get the insurance. They gotta pay the money through insurance. So they was like, okay, well, I'll just write the scripts. It did came out till later that these things had long lasting effects, but by that time they had a lot of people already hooked to it. You're right. It wasn't all way the doctor's fault, but pharmaceutical companies had to pay this big lawsuit because it's like $1 billion something lawsuit that they have to pay because they knew about that shit. So it's like they know, you know what I'm saying? So now it just had a tripling effect because they didn't know that was going to bring on this whole epidemic.
But here's the thing about the whole epidemic. Even if they say they didn't know.
And then they know like somebody's just said on the thing, they know so many patients have addictions, and they still do this shit. So what I'm saying?
Well, at the same time, it has to be. You have to. How would I say this? You gotta kind of like make a rational decision. If a person tells you that their back is extremely hurting, and you're their doctor, right?
Right.
You have to prescribe them something. Now, you could prescribe them a painkiller, right? It could be a mild painkiller. If they get addicted to it, what do you do as a doctor? Do you stop giving them that? Because this is how it works. The system works like this. If I give you something and you get addicted to it, you got to go to a different system. Now you have to work with that system. And that system's supposed to help you recover from that. And then if you don't recover, you go to a different system. That's how it is. That's how the money runs around. You know what I'm saying? So if we got big pharmaceutical companies who you say that they knew, they absolutely knew that this would be addictive. Because guess what? The money will keep coming back to them. Because if you are addicted to, I don't know, let's say you're addicted to Percocets. Now they have another pill that could get you off of Percocets. So you take that pill, but you're addicted to that pill. So now you take this pill.
Oh yeah, they know what they're doing.
That's the whole methadone.
That's exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they created a whole bunch of hypochondriacs. Now everybody's taking all these pills. The pharmaceutical company, FDA, the CDC, they all know this.
Right, Suboxone, all these things.
I will say this real quick is that the doctors do have a duty to do no harm, right? So I'm just saying, so if you have a patient, you can't say like, oh, well, the doctors totally don't know. If you have a patient...
No. I guess if I did say that, I didn't mean to say that.
You were like, unless they're criminal doctors. But what I'm saying is if you have a doctor and it's your family doctor, and usually you kind of stick with your family doctor. Your doctor has been seeing you. They know what addiction looks like.
Right.
They know what certain things look like. They know whether back pain is real or not real because they sent you to go to whatever, an ultrasound or different things in order to see what's happening. You know what I mean? So there are ways that you just not automatically writing out a script where you are taking all those precautions to make sure because you know these drugs are addictive. I'm just saying.
I think that's
I'm gonna say this about what you just said about what's right. Here's the thing, right? And I did a lot of studies, and I actually have a lawyer friend. Now, as far as any other part of your body, this is exactly why they do this. Any other part of your body, they can consider whether you have pain or not. But when it comes to your back, it's very complicated. So a lot of people would say something's wrong with their back, and they'll send them to get an ultrasound or whatever, CAT scan or whatever to their back, and they don't see nothing. Because with your back, you have so many different variables in your back, all that stuff. So when you say that they know, some of them know. That's why they always ask you, what's your pain level? What's your pain level? Is your pain level 10 or 3? You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, oh, it's a 10. I'm like, okay. That's the one part of your body that they could never tell you if it really hurts or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That and your mental health.
Yeah,
and
mental health.
That's why cats was getting prescriptions for the medical marijuana.
So what they do is, right, this is what they do,
but
right?
you have physical therapists and you have different ones that
I'm
could
telling
tell a range of motion and could tell how the body
look.
like,
so the back, right? Check this out.
But you
right?
could always go in and be like,
Yeah.
oh, well, this is.
I
20,
understand,
you know
but
what
there
I mean?
has to be a way to.
They get. That's
know.
why because the thing about the back is they not you, so they can't gauge your pain level.
Mm-hmm.
So they gotta kind of like. I've seen people get lawsuits from back. Backs is a big deal.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Now, to your point though, about what you're saying is, a lot of times what happens is you get people who do say that they back hurt. The doctor does prescribe them something, right? And you said that the doctor's supposed to know whether you're addicted to it or not.
Yeah.
Doctors work with other doctors, and that's how they make their money. So they'll say, okay, well, I do care about you. I'm going to stop doing treatment for you, and I'm going to send you to this other doctor. And now this other doctor gives you some medication. That's how they make money. So even if they do stop and stop, they're still going to somehow figure out how they can make money off of you.
Yeah.
Because every part of your body is on a pay scale. It's
Yeah.
basically, it's worth money. So your arm is like, I think your back is worth between $80,000 to $100,000. Your arm is like 15. Your knee, it's all worth money, and that's how they do it.
I mean, drugs is big business. That's just one side of the coin. I think as far as like when we talk about hood recovery, we want to definitely talk about the addiction side, but we always also wanted to talk about other things too, as far as like people coming out the jail system. We wanted to talk about our brothers that was coming out of there and having problems or opportunities, stuff like that. People that's that might be their lifestyle, because the lifestyle is just as addictive as doing the drugs. For me, it was a lifestyle, that hustling and all of that. You know what I mean? Like I love that shit. You know what I'm saying? It was like a rush. You feel me? So me, it was more or less the lifestyle too. But then a lot of the things that we talk about that people don't want to talk about in the in our community that I want Lydia to kind of expand on is like trauma, like the people that's like she said something about it earlier about like our community not going to therapy, not our mental health.
Right.
How we deal with that, why we having these things where we don't trust these things that's already in place. So I just want you to kind of expand.
Before she say that, I want to ask you a question about it, and then you can go into it. Why do you think us as the black community demonize therapy, especially therapy when it comes to going to see a psychiatrist and talking about your problems? Why do you think that? Now you can go into it and answer that.
I think there's like many reasons why. Partly historically, because we've been experimented on, right? So when you bring in like a psychiatrist or whatever, right? It's hard to believe that what they're giving you is for your benefit a lot of times, right? You have that. There's also, throughout history, we've been kind of taught to bite the bullet, push it down, grin and bear it, be strong, keep going. Like, those are all the things that show strength, quote unquote, strength within our community. You know what I mean? So that's been put into us at an early age by our parents. You gotta think, right? So, I mean, I know my parent, I can't speak for everybody else, but they went through the times of colors only, whites only. You could be here, you could be there. They went through the struggle of trying to have a job, going for different interviews, different stuff like that. I'm bringing it back around to the therapy, don't worry.
That's okay.
But what I'm saying is, they've been dealt a lot of hardships. You know what I mean? And regardless if they were qualified for jobs or if they were qualified for different positions within their life. Even if they were entrepreneurs trying to start their own thing, right?
Yeah.
They've been pushed aside. There was redlining for housing. There is so many things stacked against our community and our parents, I'm saying. So then it's been put into us, you know what I mean? At least our age bracket.
Yeah.
To when you're young. You don't talk about nothing. You don't, you know what I mean? Especially to your teachers. Anybody white, you don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Because remember when, well, it was back then, DIFUS, now it's DCP&P, but DIFUS was coming in, taking kids and
Right.
stuff like that, and at a large amount within the minority community, right? So it's just, there's a lot of cultural barriers, and I think that there needs to be more diversity training, more understanding of who we are, and more black therapists.
Facts.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
what I was
In
thinking
order
of.
for us to be able to even relate, I'm gonna just give one incident, right? So I worked as in case management. I'm not gonna say the place, but
Yeah.
at the time we had a therapist there. She was white, and I remember her asking me about if one of the girls there had a tick because she kept going like this, right? And she didn't understand culturally. No, she has on a wig or a weave,
Right.
and she don't want to mess up her hair. She don't
Facts.
have no tick, but because the training is not there, because there's not, you know, so a lot of times, to kind of answer your question, like, why is it demonized or why do we not? There's so many layers to that. It's historical, it's generational, it's what's been poured into us,
Right.
it's the Caucasian therapists, it's their lack of training or understanding amongst cultures, just like if you had an Asian, right? You're not going to expect for them to just open up right away and stuff, because in their culture, you know what I mean, they don't speak about their emotions and feelings.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like understanding all that. I think why we don't go is because we feel like we're going to be misunderstood or judged, or we don't trust it because there's so much evidence as to why not to trust it. Like, I don't trust that. Look at what they've done.
Hold on.
I think that.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that one of the major reasons why that is, see, therapy to me, if I was to become a therapist, therapy is it's a universal training. It's not a cultural training. Now, I do agree with you on that it should be cultural, because when you're dealing with black people, it's different from when you're dealing with any other race. Because in America, I would say. It's different if you're dealing with somebody that's not in America. But when you're dealing with a black person in America, culturally it's different because there's different layers, like you said. I do believe that when you are a therapist, there are universal things that you are taught, but some of that stuff does not apply to black people because they're out of that spectrum. Because when you're treated differently, you can't use the same universal, like if somebody says, I don't know if you fell in a hole, right? I don't know. The reason why you might fell in a hole might be different because I was actually taught to go down there and fall in a hole on purpose. But some people did it by accident. You get what I'm saying? So now, I as a therapist, therapists, when it comes to, I think, being therapeutic to black people, I do believe that they should have a different type of training and learn a little more historical things, but that's only if that applies to that black person who comes from that cloth, because you got black people who are in the suburbs who never been in the hood, and they don't know how it is.
Yeah,
So
that's why a lot of the times I always say, like, when I used to go through these little programs or whatever, I'm like, why there isn't more black addiction counselors? Why isn't more and you know what, another thing, not even just a black thing, why isn't there more males in these positions? Because when you go to these programs and a lot of these other things, it's all women. It be all women in these. They all counselors, all women, and that's a good thing. But at the same time, it's like, where's a male presence? Sometimes a male feel more comfortable talking to another man, or you know what I'm saying. So I think the same thing kind of applies. Maybe sometimes not, because I'm more comfortable talking to a woman, but you know what I mean? Like, but as far as everything is like, some people are more acceptable to talk to a person that might look like them or might, because maybe they might feel that they understand where they're coming from because they might have walked in the same shoes. Not to say that somebody that hasn't done that can't be in these positions. They just have to have the empathy for it. But I just think that it correlates a little bit more when you can look a person and you can say, well, yo, I think this person really understands me because he might have been through these things that I've went through.
But you also,
right, but is there a lack of hiring of these people, or is there a lack of applying?
I think both.
Right?
I think both.
So I'm just saying you have to look at it.
I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm sorry. I'll be honest with you. I don't know no black person that I ever came across who wants to be a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or an addiction specialist or counselor.
I think we should. I think
I know we should do, but I never came across no that in that field.
I have a degree in psychology, and my
mom I'm saying I haven't. There you go. See,
right. I'm just saying. So I mean, they're out there, but she's Hispanic, my mom. But I'm just saying they're out there.
I think now is that's why I think this podcast will be good. So maybe we can plant those seeds that people that really want to help and really want to do some help, that you can help your communities in different ways. You know, you don't have to be an activist all the time. You can help actually from the ground. You know what I'm saying? And help people have a better life, or plant that seed so they can be a person that they could be like, all right, well, I helped that person, help these people. You know what I mean? So these jobs ain't gonna be the most rewarding. You ain't gonna get the praise and the, you know what I mean? But at the same time, man, you doing God's work. You doing that work that people really should be doing. Maybe these churches should be doing. Maybe these, you know what I mean, that we got away from. You know what I'm saying?
That goes back to what I was saying.
You know what I'm saying?
To what I was saying earlier about it's a program and everybody falls into these subcategories. Like even like what you said about the activists. Even with activists, right? These so-called activists who are really not activists, right? What they do is they put you in this category and they say, oh yeah, it's all about black people. But then as soon as you disagree with them on something, then you don't matter to them. You know what I'm saying? So I think that we need genuine people who care about all black people. You know what I'm saying? Not just, even if they have a different political view from you, you still care about them because they're black. They might disagree with you, but you care. But you get a lot of these people, as soon as you say you on the other side, they look at you like they call you names, a coon, race traitor, da-da-da-da. And that is very traumatizing to a lot of people too. You know what I'm saying? I like a lot of people don't understand that when your race calls you a race traitor, and the only thing you doing is saying that you think that this opportunity is actually better for black people, that falls into.
I mean, that's
the mindset too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that's the mindset. Just like when I was growing up, I was told, "Oh, you talk white," whatever that means, because I was, educated. So I talk white now, which to me told more about them than it did about me.
Right.
You know what I mean? I understood that at an early age. Like if you think because I speak educated that only white people speak like this, that's like something going on anyway with you psychologically. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's definitely hurtful to be rejected by your own community. And somewhat, I don't want to say it, but I was saying somewhat there is brainwashing there even within our community. To be like, oh, you gotta be always agree with pro-black, pro everything that's black, but not everything black is right.
No, and I also say that a good portion of them same people who say that they pro-black, they married to a white person.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I look at it like this too. At some point, you know what I mean, the black community need to get on kind of the same board when it comes to politics. But for me, like, I think the we have to come together on some things when it comes to our own community, and it got to start from the ground up. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna we gotta get into these positions, but the only way we're gonna get into these positions is we're gonna have to do some work that ain't gonna you might not get the recognition for it, you might not get the appraisal for it, but hey, these things that we need to help, we need to be on the ground and we need to be helping, and a lot of this is from the streets, helping people get away from these things that have been killing killing our communities, even the gang life and the street life and all these things. Like, what we have to start having a more better mindset of what are we going to do for our families, what are we going to do for the children, what are we going to, we want to put them in a better mindset so maybe our children or our peoples can be going after these positions, or maybe they want to be a congressperson, or maybe they want to be an addiction counselor, maybe they want to be a person that's working in a library or anything. All these things, like, yo, we need to be in these spots so we can help our families and help our communities. You know what I'm saying? So this is where I kind of wanted to. My bad.
No, I was saying every time you turn your mic kind
Oh,
of
my
goes
fault.
out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely agree with what you're saying. I think part of the things that we were going to talk about, like you were saying, besides drug addiction,
Right.
is childhood trauma, is grief, is financial struggles. Those
Right.
are the things that we need to talk about. But a lot of it starts with childhood trauma. A lot of it starts with the things that were ingrained in us as we were younger. Whether it is about, I'm saying, even the financial stuff, think about that. If your mom or your parent doesn't know or have the education about finances, or doesn't care enough, or teaches you spending habits, instant gratification, like, it's so much that goes into, that's being poured into you, and we're getting full off of the lies that we're fed. And
That's
so we have to purge a lot of this stuff out, and then teach our younger ones, or even, you know what I mean, come to terms with our own.
But even our people have that survival. We have that survival mentality. Mentality. We just our peoples before us even thought it like that. Like, oh, you got to do this to survive. You better have a 9 to 5. You got to do this to survive. You can't do this. You got to have that survival. It's like, oh, we just living to survive now. We didn't
I understand, but we have a lot more resources now, and a lot more understanding. Exactly. Even if it is, look, right now I'm doing my own stuff with internal healing. There's so much on the internet, so many books out now, so many things that if you're willing to actually be strong and be vulnerable, not to everybody else, but just to within yourself. To say, man, what is stopping me from being the best that I could be, from living on my purpose, from having my finances together, for having a relationship, which we're going to talk about too, relationship trauma and stuff like that. All those things, like, you have to start with yourself. That's nice to pour into the community, but you better make sure your mindset is right too. That you exactly, you have something to give as well.
That's a fact.
I think
that's good shit, Lydia. I like that.
No, that was actually excellent. I think where we see, there's a bunch of different things that, to me, kind of hold us down with trauma, and the reason why I think we're in the situation we're in. One of the major reasons why the black community is in the situation we're in, because the overabundance of pandering, the overabundance of not letting you be responsible enough to make your own decisions, and kind of like pushing you towards that way where it's like, this is the welfare state, this is where we're gonna have you, this is equal housing opportunities, this is this, and it keeps you in that mind state where you believe that that's all you don't travel nowhere. Like, most people I know that live in the inner cities, they either been to the next city over and that's it. They never been out the country. They don't know nothing about nothing. They only know that the first of the month they getting that family first card with the money on it, and they getting their rent paid. When you have that type of since the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, every year you have that mentality. You're gonna pass it down from generations. So now my mom and then my sister gave the whole idea. Well, you know what? You don't have to do that. You know who will pay your rent? Go up to welfare. They'll pay your rent. Oh, then you tell your daughter. Now your daughter tells her daughter, and then her daughter tells her daughter. That's how they keep us in the place that we're in. You know what I'm saying? And it's that one person that breaks the mold and end up like me, or end up like you, or end up like somebody where we got a house, or we got a, you know what I'm saying?
I'm like, don't say me, because I got a family first card.
I'm keeping my motherfucker.
You could be.
I don't know what he talking about.
No, listen. I ain't telling you not to get a family first card. I'm saying,
no, I understand.
Shit, I'm about some food stamps in a minute. Before we was growing up, niggas used to be like, man, I been caught dead with those food stamps. Let a nigga tell me some food stamps now, nigga.
I need that card.
No, but I understand what you're saying. There's generational wealth and there's generational poverty, right? So even though, first of all, and I'm not like bragging, I'm just putting things in perspective, right? Yeah. So I quit my job, right? And I'm finishing up my internship in December. I graduate. The thing is, too, though, is I know I got to feed my family, right? Yeah. So for this time frame until I get another job or whatever.
Let me guess.
What?
You got OnlyFans?
No. I was like, I don't know.
Hey, yo,
nah, that's you. I was on your page last week. No, what I'm saying is, but I did go and sign up for a family first card. Yeah. But I also know too, there's a time frame. You know what I mean?
That's what I was gonna say. Yes.
Like I know it's not like, oh, this is my life. Exactly.
It's the help. It's the help.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, but you also know too that statistically it's more Caucasians.
Oh hell yeah, no, I'm not.
Yes.
Food stamps.
Yes.
Than African Americans.
Right? Who you think I was buying food stamps from in Canada? All the white boys come with their little cards and shit. I was like, hell yeah, let me get that. But
the thing is that it's always shown that we're acting up and
it's that good time shit.
Good time. Yeah, they're always putting it out there, you know, oh, do you know that 12 people got killed in Camden today or that this happened? Like, it's always projected that, like, we're the worst. You know what I'm saying? But it's not even the truth when you look at the stats. You know what I'm saying? So...
But yo, you know what? I know everybody pressed for time, so I just wanted to, you know, let everybody know the podcast is coming, Hood Recovery. We talk about resources. People do. We this is what we're doing it for, man. We want to let these people know that these resources is out there, these resources is available. Just, you know, giving other people a point of view that where we coming from, and maybe we can, you know, help some people. So. I thank Torture Talk for having us on, man. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you. And you know, everything is good, man. Shout out the page is gonna be up soon, so everybody just look out for it. Hood Recovery. We're gonna have a YouTube. We're not sure what platform the podcast is gonna be mainly out of, but we're coming up with that.
Depends on what y'all trying to do. If y'all trying to do it on YouTube, it's easy. Just do it from your phone. If you trying to do it on Anchor, where y'all call each other up on Anchor. That's a good way to do it too. And that goes, when you do it on Anchor, that goes on all the platforms. It goes on Spotify, Apple, all that stuff.
You might have to rock with that. We're definitely gonna figure that out.
But also, we want to hear from you too. You know what I mean? We want to know what are the topics that the community wants to talk about, not just what we have to say, but we want to hear from you as well. So, of course, leave comments and come up with topics. We're going to talk about, like I said, relationships, you know, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, but we're also going to talk about relationships within the family, childhood trauma, like I said, finances, the streets, coming home from jail, incarceration, grief. There's a list of things that we want to that we want to
That's a
attack.
fact. That's a fact.
I want to say one more thing before we get out of here. I think that us as black people are. We gotta get our shit together fast, because in the next 10 years, what we talking about is not gonna even matter no more, because they're building a whole new world right in front of us, and people don't even realize it. The virtual reality world is gonna be something that's gonna be. You can't make no excuses for that, and I'm definitely not gonna live in there, but. I'm telling people now, everybody think I'm bullshitting, but it's coming. You know what I'm saying? You already see Mark Zuckerberg with the metaverse, where you put on the Oculus goggles and you live inside of there. That's real. Like, this shit we was always talking about when we was kids. Just imagine I can come to your house in a virtual world and talk to you, fight you, spend money with you, buy houses. I could be a millionaire. This is what they're pushing for. So I think the black community really need to, it's two things that can happen that we can benefit off of this, because you still have to live in the real world. Just the bottom line.
That's a fact.
I think that if we get us together now, and within 20 years from now, maybe 30 years from now, we can start our own generational wealth, start our own whatever. I think we need to do that now.
Word.
And I see it happening.
Word.
Because I see black people, even certain things I disagree with that certain organizations do, but I see it happening. They're starting to speak up more. They're starting to do more. You know what I'm saying? So
we definitely
see
need
what
to,
happens.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely. But
Well, it's
thank
just
you.
like, I'm sorry, see now, I'm gonna shut it down.
No, go ahead. You got the last word. It's fine.
No, but it's just like, I'm listening to you talk, and it reminds me of the Disney movie WALL-E. And I don't know if you probably never seen it, but it was a robot that used to be on Earth anyway, and was in a different planet. But on that planet, they were in their chairs on virtual reality, and that's where they lived at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so we're definitely going that way. I said I could put on a filter. I could change my behind, my eyes, my hair, I could become everything that I ever wanted to be, without putting any real effort to actually change my situation in the real world. You know what I'm saying?
Man. That's crazy, man.
But that's a whole different.
Yeah, that's a whole thing. We're gonna talk about all that, man. Her recovery, man. Look out for it. Milton, Lydia, you know what I mean? Follow us. You know what I'm saying? Our pages and all of that. Yeah, man. Shout out to my man Maurice. You know what I'm saying? Torture Talk, man. Make sure y'all support his channels, support his videos, man. Torture Talk all day, every day. We started it, but he kind of pushed. He kind of took over, man. He Joe Button and Rory me. You know what I'm saying? He kicked me off the joint like Rory and
we still doing episodes.
Word up. So
man, we out of here though.
All right.
Thank y'all for watching, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I like this little setup, cuz.